How are we? Welcome in here to Slaughterhouse Sports. It is June 8th, Saturday, and I hope that everybody is having a great weekend and continues to have a great weekend. There was an interesting video that I saw on Football Scoop, and I want to break it down. Interesting video released by the Huskers and 24/7 via a TikTok video. It's about 2 minutes long, and it's Troy Dannen. And Troy Dannen, first of all, he's very impressive. I think that Troy Dannen is loyal to Nebraska, and, he's from Iowa. I think that this is his last stop. He was at Washington last year. Even though you would think that I thought that Trev Alberts would be the permanent guy or would be there for another 20 years, Trev Alberts probably wants to be the commissioner maybe of the SEC, maybe, like Greg Sankey maybe retires in 10 years and then suddenly, Trev Alberts is doing something. So Trev always wanted to climb the ladder, and he was perfect for Nebraska and Matt Rule, but Troy Dannen seems really solid, seems dialed in to the future of college football. And he talked about Ohio State and Oregon, and this isn't a surprise. He said that they each have $23 million of NIL. He said actually that Washington, his previous school, had $10 million of NIL, and he said that Nebraska's NIL didn't even equal $10 million. So he said that Washington has more NIL than Nebraska. All right. So that's not a surprise. I mean, you look at the caliber of recruits that are coming into Oregon and Ohio State. I mean, these are two teams that are ranked probably in the top 6 that are frankly going to be competing for a national championship this year and in the Big Ten. So what is going on in the courts and with antitrust is that eventually the schools are going to communicate with the television revenue, and they're going to pay out the athletes. Now, theoretically, it should be what Nebraska wants and what a lot of the Big Ten is going to want, same with the SEC, is that they want an equal playing field. Now, I have no idea how that's going to be conducted. I mean, are we really going to live in a world where Purdue and Illinois are going to have the same as Penn State, are going to have the same as Ohio State? Are we going to live in a world where Rutgers has the same opportunities to get athletes as like a Georgia or an Alabama? I really don't know if I fathom that. And the thing is that I still think that you're going to be able to pay the players and entice them to come there via monetary money that does not come from television. And I think that the star players are going to ask for that, and they probably should, because they are star football players. So very interesting. I think that for Nebraska, the thing that I like, for Nebraska is, yes, the facilities are great. Men's and women's sports are great. Like women's volleyball is one of the best sports in the country, or one of the best teams in the country. So I think that Troy Dannen is really committed to keeping every single sport at Nebraska. And honestly, like if you have to give a little bit away, or sacrifice some money so that you keep every single sport on campus, whether it be baseball, soccer, all the other sports, I think that that's what's worth it, because I think that that's what college sports are all about. And really these super conferences and football and basketball taking on the bulk of all this money, it's going to create really a parallel that is not going to be good it's not going to be good for college football, or no, it's not going to be good for college sports. So Nebraska's in the middle of the country. Troy Dannen talking about it right now. It isn't an equal playing field, but I kind of doubt that it will be. Now, if you're Oregon and Ohio State, you have to take advantage of this momentum that you have NIL. And of course, then when you're getting to the still the top recruits are going to go to the best schools because that's the best chance to get into the NFL. That's the best chance to compete against other contemporaries that are going to be going to the National Football League. But again, he pretty much confirmed that Oregon and Ohio State and some of these other schools are dealing with, are just have massive advantages in the sport. But frankly, that's kind of always how the sport has been. So I'm not that appalled by the reports or that these schools have massive advantages. I think that I think that it's not realistic that in a couple of years, suddenly it's going to go to a system where everybody is going to be on equal playing field. Maybe it will be more equal. And I'm probably for that. I'm for more competition with the smaller schools having a shot to entice. But for the star players and how they're getting compensated, when you're an Arch Manning or you're all these other athletes that are great, like a Caleb Downs or the stars of the sport, Quinn Ewers, are you going to be making the same amount of money as a quarterback's going to be making at a Mississippi State or an Arkansas if you're the quarterback at Texas? So all of that needs to be ironed out. I think it's going to take at least 3 or 4 years for it to be ironed out perfectly. I mean, the courts, again, this year are probably going to make that decision. But I love that Troy Dannon is thinking ahead here in this regard. All right, let me know what you guys think about this video, about, Troy Dannon's comments on the future of college athletics. Very interesting report here.